The rain came down in thick, greasy sheets that night, slicing the yellow-orange light of Kembor street lamps into twitching filaments. I stood outside the gallery windows, rainwater collecting in my shoes, clutching a paper bag to my chest. The bag smelled sweet and warm, even as the contents shivered inside. 3 dozen delicate pastries, my first original recipe, meant to be the centerpiece of the exhibition, celebrating Mumbai's young talent, the flyer had claimed. Through the glass, I watched them circulate, well-dressed families nibbling at oily samosas, sipping their chai, laughing. Mr. Kalyani, the gallery organizer, shook his head when he saw me. Hair plastered, shirt dark with rain, the package held just a little bit too tight against my ribs. I must have looked pathetic. I tamped down my hope like I always did, slipped in on his subtle invitation, and slipped off my shoes at the door, water pooling at my feet, the taste of nerves sour in my mouth. A few months earlier, I'd sent them my proposal, an installation of edible sweets that told a story, merging art with the craft of the pâtissier. They even replied, said it was a novel idea. So I slaved for weeks, nights after my shift at the dusty local bakery, not telling Ma or Dadi. I could already hear their laughter. Art show? What will you do next? Open a circus? But tonight, there was just rain and the looming circle of strangers inside. My cousin Praful saw me first, hovering near a table of pale cupcake towers. "Hey, Tushar, what's that?" His grin flared and receded as he gestured at the bag. I moved toward the food table, fighting the urge to shrink. "It's, my submission for the centerpiece," Mr. Kalyani said. But Kalyani cut me off, eyes wide behind his fogged glasses. "Oh, Bitta, listen. The pastry thing, it's not what we expected. People want something substantial, nah? We already have snacks." He gestured at the monsoon sodden pastries, leaking cream from a torn crust where my thumb pressed too hard. Praful snickered. Come, leave this. Chai is best for rainy day. Pastry is for English, no?" I stood there, sodden. People glanced over, then averted their eyes. I unzipped the bag, unsure whose benefit it was for. I arranged a few sweets, a play on Malai Peda, with lemon curd and toasted coconut dust, as if proving I belonged. None of them looked. Someone asked too loudly if there would be normal cake later. My cheeks burned. I saw Ma slipping toward the back, her words from that morning echoing. "Just get a stable job, please. Baking you can do for fun." Dad, arms crossed, watched from the side, as if measuring the length of my failure. "Go on, Tushar, maybe next time," Kalyani whispered, already moving on. The rain grew louder on the awning, like it was clapping at me. I gathered up what I could, limp, sticky, warm under my fingers, and walked outside. I sank down on the gallery steps, letting the rain flatten my hair, numb my hands. Mumbai's traffic honked and hissed. The pastries squashed in my lap, ruined by the hour and the weather. Maybe Praful and Ma and the rest had been right all along. Who in their sane mind would look at flour and sugar and imagine real art? That was the night my heart cracked, quietly, under the weight of the city's laughter. I tried for a while to bury it. I took on more shifts at the bakery, up before sunrise, kneading and rolling the same. Ma softened when I brought back extra sweets or paid for the electricity. But Dadi, sharp-eyed in her graying years, would still nudge me. "You have God's gift in your hands, Beta. Why pour it all down the gutter with routine work?" She believed even if she didn't understand. Some evenings, after everyone slept, she'd sit at the table with me, sampling my botched attempts. The dreams didn't die, they just changed. From YouTube tutorials pilfered on my battered phone, I learned how French pastry chefs pulled sugar into glassy landslides, how New York bakers turned dough into clouds. At local markets, I sought out odd flavors, gokgung, jamun, rose vinegar, playing with them late at night. I failed. I failed again. My tongue grew wise to burnt sugar and split custard. Braful, meanwhile, started a job with one of those mobile startups. He bought a new phone every 6 months, posted food photos mocking my plates. My younger brother got into IIT Mumbai. I heard whispers from uncles. That Tushar, still playing with cakes. Kids these days, eh? So I hid. I worked for money, cooked for love, and stared out my window as the city climbed higher above me. It was Dadi who started slipping me the extra rupee notes from her sari hem, as if bribing me for hope. Go do that workshop you keep talking about. It wasn't much, 200 here, 500 there, but it added up. I sold a few cakes from home, claimed the money for groceries. By the time I signed up for the pastry diploma, an online one offered by a Parisian school, I barely had enough for the first payment. Most nights, I baked to the tune of snoring, moon reflected in the glass. I'd taste a perfect tart, mouth puckered from lemon, and it would be the only light left. The diploma wasn't glamorous. Classes came via dodgy internet and stuttering video calls. My peers were Europeans with easy access to hand-churned butter and proper ovens, but I made do with what I had. I practiced shaping choux pastry with off-brand margarine and a pressure cooker, burning fingers and eyebrows in the rush of steam. I cried over ruined batches, cursing my ambition. By day, I measured flour at Pastries. By night, I whispered French to yeast and hoped Mumbai's humidity would spare me. Little things shifted. When the diploma arrived, paper. With my name scrolling above a watermarked Eiffel Tower, I only showed Dadi. She wept and pressed it to her head before stashing it under her pillow. Through online forums, I got a message from a pastry chef at a tourist hotel in Colaba who needed a temporary assistant. I went, trembling and hopeful. 3 months of grueling shifts in a sealed, air-conditioned kitchen, elbow to elbow with men who'd been at it 30 years. But Chef Laurent, stern, bearded, always scowling, let me experiment. After hours, he watched quietly as I gilded my desserts with cardamom syrup and marigold petals. One night, he bit into my Mumbai millefeuille, layers of puff pastry with coconut jaggery and mascarpone, and smiled, just once. He scribbled something on a scrap of paper. Next day, he handed me an envelope. You want to work? Really learn? I know someone. Small restaurant, needs a person with new ideas. I stared at his pudgy French signature, barely daring to hope. My English is not very— Your sweets do the talking, he said, turning back to his prep. I clutched the note like a passport, heart thumping. The new job felt like a window cracked open in a stifling room. Bandra West, a sleek bistro named Amber and Ivy. The head chef, Miran, ran things with military precision but loved my experiments. A saffron lace cheesecake, kalakand with cocoa nibs, a tart with raw mango and green chili jam. On my first menu tasting, investors tasted my desserts. Even the manager, arms folded with skepticism, cracked a smile at my pink guava mousse, sharp and cold as a monsoon wind. I saw the city from above now, rooftop evenings with staff, the sea breeze cool and heavy on my skin. My bank account grew, little by little, until Praful sent a message. Bro, are you still baking? Mum says you flew somewhere? He didn't sound hateful anymore, just confused. One morning, I opened my messages to find an invitation, a global pastry challenge in Singapore. Miran grinned, telling me, "You've got the hands, not just the ideas. Go get your name out, Tushar." I looked at the flight ticket, awe smothering the old fear. I applied for my first passport, bought a cheap suitcase, packed Dadi's handwritten Shrikand recipe between my chef's whites. At the event, chefs from all over the world, tall Italians, sleek Japanese, brisk Americans. I shook so hard I nearly dropped the spatula. But when I started cooking, the old rhythm came back. I stewed kokum in sugar and rose, built tarts with slick jamun curd and toasted coconut. Other chefs watched, puzzled. The judges paused at my display, Mumbai monsoon sweets. I didn't win, not that year. But an editor from a foodie magazine snapped my photo, called my work an evocative piece of Mumbai on a plate. Articles followed. Orders trickled in from across Asia. Miran offered me my own dessert counter. From there, the world opened a crack at a time. Istanbul, Dubai, London. 5 years tumbled by, soft as rising dough. My face appeared on the covers of niche food magazines. International clients called, wanting something Mumbai but unexpected. I missed home, even as I baked in kitchens with windows looking out on alien skies. But the nights were still solitary. Once, during a snowstorm in Toronto, I curled on a hostel bunk, missing the clatter and shouting of our old Chembur flat. I phoned home. Ma asked awkward, "Bachcha, are you eating well? When are you coming home?" Dadi had passed last winter. Her voice echoed in my head. "Don't lose your gift." The ghost of that rain-soaked night at the gallery followed me. Each wind tasted of her sweetness, of Ma's quiet caution, of the heavy silences Dad wore like an extra shirt. When my desserts hit the menu at a Michelin-starred place in Mumbai, the city called me home. The flight back was sleepless, senses jangling. I counted airport tiles, checked my reflection. I'd gained weight, confidence in my stance. My hands, once soft with sugar and nerves, were now marked with faint burns, gold and brown. Chembur was the same, raucous, caked in dust and color, jasmine garlands on street corners, rain still forecast for the evening. I dragged my suitcase up our apartment stairs. Ma opened the door, blinking. For a moment, I wasn't her prodigal son. Inside, the walls bowed with photos of my brother in his engineer's coat, Praful's kids' birthday parties. A single yellowed newspaper clipping hung by the kitchen, my first write-up, framed carefully. Ma pointed at it, voice soft. Dadi insisted. That night, the four of us sat around the kitchen table. Ma, Dad, my brother Arav, and Praful, scrubbed and wary. The silence softened with kanda poha and laughter. I brought out little boxes I'd carried home. Edible gifts from Paris and Singapore. They prodded them, uncertain. Ma broke the spell first. "Bachcha, your Dadi would have been proud. She made us keep that article, said someday you'd come back." I glanced outside. Rain rattled the window. A lump rose in my throat. The next morning the gallery called. "Mr. Kalyani," the voice said, professional, clipped. "We heard you're back in Mumbai. The Arts Council is hosting an urban food exhibition. We'd would be an honor, truly, if you could feature your new work." Something bitter and joyous twisted in me. I said yes. 2 weeks later, I found myself standing outside that same gallery, breathing in monsoon-soaked air. My name was on the banner this time. Featured Chef Tushar Diwali, a taste of Mumbai reimagined. Inside, the air buzzed with an anticipation I'd never known. Uniformed staff whisked between tables, stacked with towers of my pastries. Cashew crumbled tartlets, kokum-laced eclairs, saffron baubles glowing under glass. The whole place smelled of roasted coconut and citrus. My hands trembled as I moved around the displays, straightening a